So I found a video of a guy who trains freight brokers or sells his package or whatever that he has. Basically like a freight broker training course. And he brought a gentleman on that he has in this course and has followed it. And this gentleman goes over some of the practices and things he does and countries of origin he runs out of to run his brokerage and how he does it. I'm going to probably try to make a video on this if someone that has a bigger channel doesn't beat me to it, because I don't want to look like somebody that's a copycat, because I just saw that he made a community post as I was trying to figure out how to clip pieces of this interview out of their YouTube interview. I'm trying to not get a copyright claim or whatnot. I don't know if I can even do it and just add commentary over it. What I might do is I'm going to probably add the link in the description of this video and make a community post of my own about it. So apparently he's making $18,000 plus a month, and some of his business practices are, well, less than stellar. It pretty much goes in line with what we expect out of an overseas broker and everything else. I can't prove anything that he's doing, if he's doing anything technically wrong, double brokering and all that other, buzzwords we hear in the industry. But it definitely has that atmosphere, I guess you could say, of being a little out there. Now, hey, it's business, business is business. But you can kind of get, just by watching the interview, where this might be going and what it leads to and everything. He does his own thing. He does a brokerage. I'm an owner-operator. I'm a truck driver. In fact, I'm not even in the spot market anymore, at least for right now. But I can see how this would help somebody get their head around the industry as a whole. Now, this guy supposedly is making 70% off of all the loads he runs. Is that real? He is using outside labor, overseas and things. He could be easily making a 70% profit. The other thing is, what else is he doing? I don't know. I'm not trying to go down that road. But he doesn't work like most brokers. So don't get it in your head that all brokers are taking 70%, because I definitely know brokers that they take maybe 12%, maybe 10%, and they do have bills too, and they want to have a nice house and cars and everything we want. But they also have some of the same problems we have. They have overseas brokerages, scam companies coming in, taking their business, and they just want to live a middle-class lifestyle just like you and me. So I'm going to try to figure out how to edit some of this, or I'm going to maybe go live either today or tomorrow and just do a talk about it. It'd be better if I could, edit it and actually put snippets and clippets into my video just to show what I'm talking about. But apparently I'm not, a wizard when it comes to YouTube editing or even their laws and stuff on that. And I don't feel like getting a channel strike. So this is Jackknife TV. Thanks for just stopping in here real quick for this little video about brokers. I'm no longer really in the spot market, but I know mostly everyone is, and it's just interesting to watch. Like I said, the comment's going to be the link's going to be in the description, so watch it, and I'm going to try to make more content about it, at least try to fill some people in or get the reaction, or I might just go live and see who shows up. So thanks for stopping by.
So originally you were born and raised in India.
Yeah.
You moved to the Ukraine as a student. That was your first experience with the freight brokerage business, right? You started doing cold calls. It wasn't very fun. You moved on, migrated to Canada. Now you live in Canada.
True.
And you're also a student. Am I correct?
That
He's
is
a full-time student, which means he's probably doing 15 credits or more, right? I mean, credit hours, he's got probably 4 or 5 classes per semester, right? Something like that. Yeah. And he's also an agent. Now, Tell us, just to kind of tease everybody along here, in February, the last month, because it's actually in January. I'm sorry, it's February now. In January, tell us what your numbers were as an agent: gross sales, gross profit.
In revenue, it was 120,000, and we did around 18,500, or approximately, in gross profit.
And then you as an agent, what's your commission split?
It's 70%.
70%. So it's pretty easy math, people. 70% of 18,000, if I'm not mistaken, that's probably around 13 grand.
Yeah.
So I would dare to say that you are probably the only student in your entire school, let alone the business management program, that has a business that he's already running, that he's making, that he just made roughly estimate $13,000 a month in profit from. Okay. So number one, congrats to you. I mean, that's amazing. I say that because it's hard enough to run a business, right? Especially a startup, right? A young business. It's hard enough to be a full-time student, but it's really hard to do both and do them both well, right? So, I mean, I don't want to overlook that. That's very important. It's the first. I think that's the first I've ever had a student who was running a business while still a student. I've had them, they were still driving truck, or they were still had another job of some sort, but I think it's the first time student wise. So congrats. Right, so you had both of those going on at once. So you probably weren't getting a whole lot of sleep. And then once you migrated to Canada, you're in the Toronto area, right?
Yes, I am.
You then, time difference didn't work in your favor, so you had to hire some employees. So you actually have employees that are remote, that live in India, that you trained. And what are the jobs that they're doing? Describe the jobs. Are they mainly on the operations side, finding trucks and dispatching and doing that, or are they mainly on the sales side?
They're mainly on the operations side. They deal with the carriers and finding trucks and everything.
If that's as far as Mohsin's goals go, is wanting to make a six-figure income, make $18,000 a month, he probably doesn't have to do a ton more of cold calling. He probably doesn't have to go out and do a lot of prospecting, no matter what channel, because he's got an established customer base. Now, there's always going to be a certain amount of attrition. Sometimes rates are going up because there's less trucks than there are loads. Sometimes rates go down because there's more trucks than there is loads, right? So there's that supply and demand, and each market is different. How do you accurately and effectively provide freight quotes for your shippers? So what is the process for you? Because you obviously are, you're not always the cheapest. You're not always the most expensive, but you're providing a quote that creates enough value for the shipper and enough profit for you that it's worthwhile for both parties to engage. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Okay. So let's say I also do some loads, for example, in terms of harvest.
Okay.
If we talk about that, I use the DAT tool to get an average. And I ask my employees to get in touch with the carriers who have trucks available in those lanes, and to get some sense of what rates are they looking for, and to get those numbers.
Okay, so talk to us about how you price the power only.
That's my main niche.
Yes.
So it's been pretty standard. We have a standard figure depending on some particular lanes, and depending, of course, on the distance that it is covering. If it is going to be a loadout or a towaway move, considering those factors, and depending, of course, on the weather conditions and the market conditions, there are some specific numbers that has been, for some reason, working out and throughout those years since I started, and it's still working.
So you do a per mile plus fuel rate then?
Yes.
So you have a per mile plus fuel rate based upon, the market that they're coming in and out of, right? So if it's hypothetically, if it was Buffalo to Atlanta, it would have probably a different rate than Boston to Chicago, right? Okay, good. So you have done enough research and spent enough time and done enough due diligence to understand what the per mile plus fuel rate is. And then you plug those matrix, you know, you plug those rates into the miles and into the seasonality and the conditions that are going on. And that allows you to find a truck and still make a margin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes our margins are, let's say, 20%. Sometimes it could be 70%.
You're in the same range of profit margin than most brokers. So I like that. All right, cool. So that's a little bit about that. So